नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। I offer my humble obeisances to all the devotees who assembled for this special session on the occasion of Sri Radhastami. Just to celebrate this auspicious festival, let us try to meditate on a few glories of Srimati Radharani. Although a struggling sadhaka like me doesn't have the ability or eligibility to speak on this great tattva of Srimati Radharani, still I'll make a feeble attempt based on what I have learned from my spiritual master, from the books of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas, and especially Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, and whatever I could learn from so many senior Vaishnavas. Actually, the topic of Srimati Radharani is a very, very exalted topic, elevated topic, and very confidential topic also. And we will be able to understand the glories of Srimati Radharani only with the blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his sincere followers like our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. In fact, the purpose of the descent of Lord Sri Krishna in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to highlight the glory of Srimati Radharani, to announce the glories of Srimati Radharani to this world. In fact, why did Krishna appear in the form of a devotee, in the form of a sannyasi, in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The prominent reason is he wanted to taste the emotions of Srimati Radharani. Here, the supreme worshipable personality is intrigued to understand the glory of the supreme worshipper of that personality. The supreme worshipable personality is Krishna, and the supreme worshipper of Krishna is Srimati Radharani. And here is the supreme worshipable trying to understand the depth of the devotion of the supreme worshipper, and to do so, he wanted to accept her position. He wanted to be like her. Unless I accept her position, I won't be able to understand her emotions or experience her emotions. So let me experience that emotion. Therefore, he acted as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What could be a better testimonial for the glory of Srimati Radharani than the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? The very appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a great testimonial for the greatness of Srimati Radharani's position as a devotee of Krishna. So let us try to meditate on the glories of Srimati Radharani. I hope you are able to see my screen. Is it clear? 1 second. Yeah. Now, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says that today I am going to discuss 5 qualities of Radharani based on all the scriptures that I have just mentioned. R, first one is R for Raga. So she is the personification of Raga or Anuraga for Krishna. She has unlimited affection or attraction for Krishna. And she is the supreme worshipper of Krishna. Therefore, the second point is Aradhana. R for Raga, A for Aradhana. She does the supreme worship of Krishna. Of all the worshippers of Krishna, Srimati Radharani is the supreme. Then D for Datritva. So she has affection for Krishna. She worships Krishna, but she also generously shares her Krishna with others. Datritva means generosity, compassion, charitable disposition. She is the supreme goddess of devotion and she gives the charity of devotion to all of us, right? Whatever little devotion, affection, love, bhakti for Krishna we have is only because of her grace. Therefore, Datritva or this charitable disposition or generosity in Radharani, Radharani's heart is one of her greatest qualities and it is our hope, right? In fact, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee, a sincere devotee, is one who is under the shelter of Srimati Radharani. Mhm. We know that shloka. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritimashritah bhajanti ananya manaso gnatva bhautadimavyayam. Mahatmanastu mam partha. Mahatmanastu mam partha means whoever is like a Mahatma or a great soul is a person who takes shelter of Daivi Prakriti or the divine energy of Krishna, Srimati Radharani. Daivim Prakriti Mashritaha. And one who takes shelter of Srimati Radharani, what does he or she do? Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Without any distractions or deviations in the mind, they do bhajan of Krishna. And knowing that Krishna is the supreme origin of everything, Gnatva Bhutadimabhyayam. So, whatever devotion we have is because of her grace only, Datritva. She generously shares her Krishna with us, with all of us, with all the devotees. Then H refers to Hladini Shakti. She is the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna. Hladini Shakti means pleasure potency. We'll discuss more details. A, last A, Ananyata. So just now I quoted a shloka from the Bhagavad Gita. Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Ananya Manasa means, Anya means something else. Ananya means nothing else. Right? Is my voice not clear? Some say it's clear. Okay. So Bhajanti Ananya Manaso. Ananya Manasa means without any distractions or deviations in the mind, without diverting one's attention towards something else. She worships Krishna only. Right? By her mercy, by her grace, by her blessings, we become Ananya. How much Ananya she is, right? If by her grace we become Ananya, naturally she must be Ananya. She's a supreme epitome of Ananya, isn't it? So that's what the last quality is. She's Ananya. She's completely in volume is very low. So many devotees are saying it's good. I think Mataji, your volume you can check from your side, please. Okay, fine. So these are the 5 qualities of Srimati Radharani that we are going to discuss today. Raga, Aradhana, Datritva, Hladini, Ananyata. By the way, she has unlimited qualities. She has unlimited features. We can discuss these topics forever. But for today's discussion, I am just highlighting these 5 features only. That too not so deeply because I don't know deeply. Whatever little bit I know, I'll share. So let's begin with the first quality, Raga, unlimited affection for Krishna. So, who is Srimati Radharani? All of us know her identity, but let's try to recollect once again from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Radha Purna Shakti Krishna Purna Shakti Man Dui Vastu Bheda Nahi Shastra Praman. Radha Purna Shakti. Srimati Radharani is the complete energy. Krishna is Purna Shaktiman, the possessor of energy. Krishna is the energetic person and Radharani is the energy, personification of that energy. Dvivastu Bhedanahi. There is no difference between both of them. Shastra Praman. All the Shastras are saying this, right? The different scriptures are declaring that there is no difference between Radha and Krishna. They're one, right? Now, uh, can we separate lamp from its light? Lamp produces light. In that sense, light is the energy of the lamp, right? So just like we cannot separate lamp from its light, we cannot separate sun from sunshine. Similarly, we cannot separate Radha from Krishna. They are one, right? So just like sun and sunshine are together, energy and energetic person are together, Krishna and Radharani are always together. But for the purpose of experiencing rasa, performing pastimes, they have manifested in two divine forms, a male form and a female form, right? Srimati Radharani is the feminine potency of Krishna, and Krishna is the Paurusham Rupam, the male form of Radharani in one sense. She says, Krishna is like my Paurusham Rupam. So the male counterpart and the female counterpart are Radha and Krishna. The Supreme Absolute Truth manifests in these two forms. राधा कृष्ण एक आत्मा दुई देह धारी अन्योन्य विलसे रस आस्वादन करी राधा कृष्ण एक आत्मा so spiritually they are one but duyi deha dhari they have manifested themselves in two forms with two bodies anyonya vilasa kare rasa aswadana kari for the purpose of experiencing rasa they have manifested. So with this background about the identity of Srimati Radharani, who is not different from Krishna, let's discuss the first feature or first quality of Srimati Radharani, Raga. So one of the important facets of Srimati Radharani's personality is Araga or Anuraga. She has unlimited affection for Krishna. That's her divine feature. So the scriptures say that amongst all the devotees of Krishna who have affection for him, Srimati Radharani manifests topmost affection for Krishna. Uh, no one can exhibit affection for Krishna or get attracted to Krishna as much as Srimati Radharani gets attracted to Krishna. So Krishna is all attractive, and naturally other people get attracted to him, right? But amongst all the people who get attracted to Krishna, Srimati Radharani gets attracted to Krishna to the highest possible extent. And whatever little attraction that we all have for Krishna is only because of uh, her mercy, her grace, her blessing, right? So, Sukadeva Goswami did not mention so much about Srimati Radharani in Srimad Bhagavatam. And not only Radharani, he did not mention about any gopi. He did not speak the name of any single gopi in entire Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, he discussed Rasa Panchadhyaya. He discussed the prayers of gopis. He also mentioned about some of the songs sung by gopis like Venu Gita, Viraha Gita, Bhramara Gita, Gopi Gita, Yugala Gita. So he described their songs, but he did not take their names. And even Srimati Radharani's name also, he took indirectly, not directly. Right? Why is it so? Because if he takes the names of the gopis of Vrindavan or Srimati Radharani herself, what could happen is he may go into ecstasy. And Parikshit Maharaj had only 7 days to live. And by this time he came to the 10th canto, already a few days passed. So he will not have he did not have much time to left. And if Sukadeva Goswami goes into trance and ecstasy, he won't be able to complete Srimad Bhagavatam. He cannot do that service completely. Therefore, he restrained himself. He controlled himself. He did not speak the names of the gopis of Srimati Radha or Srimati Radharani. So, uh, one second. You don't know many things are opening. Are you able to see the slide here? One second. Yeah. So she is the epitome of Ragatmika Bhakti. So we were discussing about Raga. She has unlimited Raga or affection for Krishna. So in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says there is Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, there is Raganuga Sadhana Bhakti, and Raganuga devotees are those people who follow the footsteps of Ragatmika devotees. Who are Ragatmika devotees? Ragatmika devotees are the Vrajavasis who have internalized that Raga for Krishna. internalized that anuraga, deep attraction, deep affection for Krishna, deep attachment for Krishna, attachment, affection, attraction, whatever you may call, that is raga. And one who has internalized that raga for Krishna are called ragatmika bhaktas. And they are of multiple rasas, dasya rasa, sakhya rasa, vatsalya rasa, madhurya rasa. And madhurya rasa is considered the topmost of all the rasas. And within the madhurya rasa also, there are two flavors, swakiya and parakiya. So swakiya means wedded love, parakiya means unwedded love. Even without the official bond of marriage, still there is love and affection. So that is Parakiya Rasa. And Srimati Radharani is that devotee of Krishna who has internalized raga for Krishna in the Madhurya flavor in the Parakiya Rasa. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes this shloka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. देवी कृष्णमयी प्रोक्ता राधिका परदेवता सर्वलक्ष्मीमयी सर्वा कांति सम्मोहिनी परा. Devi, Srimati Radharani is the supreme goddess. Krishnamayi, she is completely filled with Krishna. Her mind, her words, her body, her thoughts, her intelligence, everything is completely filled with Krishna. She thinks about Krishna. She speaks about Krishna. She hears about Krishna. Everything is Krishna only. नामानि प्रणयेन ते सुकृतिनां तन्वन्ति तुण्डोत्सवम् धामानि प्रथयन्ति हन्त जलदा श्यामानि नेत्राञ्जनम् सामानि श्रुतिसस्कुलि मुरळिका जातान्यलङ्कुर्वते कामानि वृतचेतसामिह विभो नाशामि न शोभते. नामानि प्रणयेन ते सुकृतिनां तन्वन्ति तुण्डोत्सवम्. Whenever Srimati Radharani chants the name of Krishna or even hears the name of Krishna, she goes into ecstasy. Tanvanti Tundotsavam means the greatest celebration for the tongue of Srimati Radharani is uttering Krishna's name, speaking Krishna's glories. नामानि प्रणयेन ते सुकृतिनां तन्वन्ति तुण्डोत्सवम् धामानि प्रथयन्ति हन्त जलधा श्यामानि नेत्राञ्जनम्. Netraञ्jana, the real decoration or the cosmetic for the eye of Srimati Radharani is the divine form of Krishna, is the beautiful form of Krishna, right? So then Krishna's form is blackish, and generally the ointment that we have on the eyes that is also blackish. So Krishna's blackish form is the real ornament for the eyes of Srimati Radharani. Means her eyes are completely dedicated to seeing Krishna. Her tongue is completely dedicated to chanting Krishna's names. About Srimati Radharani's chanting, there is a beautiful shloka. तुंडे तांडविनीरतिं वितनुते तुंडावली लब्धये कर्णक्रोडकदम्बिनी घटयते कर्णार्भुतेभ्यः स्पृहाम् चेत प्रांगण संगिनी विजयते सर्वेन्द्रियाणां कृतिम् नो जाने जनिता कि यद्भिरमृतैः कृष्णेति वर्णद्वयी तुंडे तांडविनी रतिं वितनुते. Means when the holy name of Krishna is dancing on the tongue of Srimati Radharani, Radharani goes into ecstasy. She desires millions of tongues. One tongue is not sufficient to chant Krishna's names with relish, with satisfaction. I need millions of tongues. 2 ears are not sufficient to experience the nectar of Krishna's name. We want millions of ears, right? And when the holy name of Krishna is dancing in the court in front of the courtyard of my heart, all my senses become inert. I completely focus on the name of Krishna only. No jane janita ki yadbhiramrtaihi krishneti varnadvayi. I can't understand what great nectar is embedded within these two syllables, Krishna, 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 right? So this is the experience of Srimati Radharani while chanting Krishna's names. नामानि प्रणयेन ते सुकृतिनां तन्वन्ति तुण्डोत्सवम् धामानि प्रथयन्ति हन्त जलदा श्यामानि नेत्राञ्जनम्. Samani Shruti Saskuli Muralika Jatanyalankurvate. The real Alankar of Radharani's ears is the flute song of Krishna. Even though Radharani, along with other gopis, are sitting in the village and Krishna is playing flute in the forest of Vrindavan, still Radharani could hear that flute song and she could glorify that flute song. She and all the other gopis gather in small groups glorifying Krishna's flute song. So, this is Radharani's attraction towards Krishna. So, Devi Krishnamaya, she is filled with Krishna. Her thoughts are filled with Krishna. Her desires are filled with Krishna. Her feelings are filled with Krishna. Her motive is just to serve Krishna. Her intelligence is filled with Krishna in the sense that with her intelligence, she constantly plans to make arrangements for Krishna's service, right? And her senses are completely dedicated to Krishna's service. Then uh, she, Radhika Paradevata, she is a supreme goddess. Radhika, we'll come to the second point, Aradhana. There we will discuss about this Radhika word. Sarva Lakshmi Mayi. Her attraction towards Krishna is so much that she manifests herself in multiple forms to serve Krishna. Krishna manifests himself in multiple forms. We know that. He has so many avatars. He has 6 categories of avatars. He has Vaibhava manifestations, Prakasha manifestations, Vilasa manifestations. He has different types of avatars. So, Srimati Radharani expands herself into millions of forms to become the consorts of the expansions of Krishna. Krishna is the origin of so many Vishnu Tattva expansions, and Srimati Radharani is the origin of all their consorts. And the consorts of Krishna or expansions of Radharani are of 3 categories. They are Lakshmi Gana, second Mahishi Gana, third Vrajadevi Gana. Lakshmi Gana means the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. Mahishi Gana means all the queens of Krishna in Dwaraka. Vrajadevi Gana means all the gopis in Vrindavan. So Srimati Radharani manifests in all these forms to serve Krishna. That is her raga, that is her anuraga. Prabodhananda Saraswati says, Vaidagdhya Sindhur Anuraga Rasaika Sindhur Vatsalya Sindhurati Sandra Kripaika Sindhur Lavanya Sindhur Amrita Chavirupa Sindhur Shri Radhika Spharatu Me Hridikeli Sindhu Vaidagdhya Sindhur Anuraga Rasaika Sindhu. Sindhu means an ocean. Vaidagya Sindhu means Srimati Radharani is an ocean of all good virtues. We'll discuss about her virtues later. But in this context, Anuraga Rasaika Sindhu. We are discussing the first feature of Radharani, which is Raga, her attraction, her affection, her attachment to Krishna. There, Anuraga Rasaika Sindhur. She's an ocean of affection for Krishna. She's an ocean of attraction towards Krishna. The amount of affection she has for Krishna, we cannot calculate it, we cannot measure it because it's unlimited, right? So this is how Srimati Radharani manifests her raga for Krishna. So we discussed only one quality of Radharani so far. Second quality, second feature, A. So we discussed R for raga, A for Aradhana. Aradhana means worship. She is the supreme worshipper of Krishna. In fact, the name Radha comes from this bigger name Aradhana. Aradhana means worship. Radha name is a part of this Aradhana, right? So Srimati Radharani exemplifies Aradhana of Krishna. Srimati Radharani is the supreme Aradhika of Krishna, supreme worshipper of Krishna. No one can worship Krishna as much as Srimati Radharani does. So now let us discuss more about her Aradhana. Sukadeva Goswami indirectly mentions Srimati Radharani's name in Srimad Bhagavatam in this shloka. Anayaradhito nunam bhagavan haririshvaraha yanno vihaya govindah prito yam anayadraha. Anayaradhito nunam. No one has done Aradhana of Krishna as much as Radharani did for Krishna. So what is the context? in the 10th canto Bhagavatam, while discussing the Madhurya Leela episodes, Sukadeva Goswami describes the Rasa Panchadhyaya, the Rasa dance of Krishna with the gopis. So, in this context, Sukadeva Goswami says that all the gopis left their relatives, left their husbands or children or family members and Vedic system, Vedic customs, social conventions, and they ran towards Krishna, right? And Krishna told, "Why did you come here? Please go back home." But these people did not go back home. So they did not go. They said, "We want to be here. We want to serve you. We want to worship you." Then Krishna said, "Okay, fine, let's dance." So they started dancing. But every single gopi in the Rasa Leela, she had an experience of having Krishna right next to her, because Krishna expanded himself into unlimited forms, unlimited Krishnas. There are unlimited gopis, and Krishna is dancing with every single gopi, and every single gopi thought that Krishna is with her only. And the next feeling is, Krishna is with me means I must be special. I must be the most special woman in the entire creation. They felt very fortunate. They felt very happy. They felt very valued. They felt so special about themselves. And this feeling is slightly seen as pride, right? Definitely, this pride is not the pride of any ordinary materialistic person in this world, but this is a divine pride, some special pride. But Krishna was not um approving that pride also, right? And of course, he understands their mood, but at the same time, Krishna thought of disappearing from there, because, oh, these people are becoming proud. These gopis are having some slight pride in them. Let me disappear. Because I am with them, they are becoming proud. Let me go away from them. Let them become humble. So, with this mood, Krishna just went. But the real purpose of Krishna's departure from that Rasa Krida is to create a longing, to create a feeling of separation uh, in the gopis. And in separation, the love of the lover for the beloved increases. And Krishna wants to experience that increased and enhanced love and affection. That's why he created the situation of separation, but not that Krishna actually thought that the gopis are very proud. No, they're really humble devotees. So, anyways, Krishna disappeared. Then, when Krishna disappeared, this gopi started singing a song of separation. But before that happened, Krishna disappeared from all the vision of all the gopis. But with one gopi, Krishna wanted to spend exclusive time, and that gopi is Srimati Radharani. So Krishna wanted to give separate time, exclusive time only to Srimati Radharani. Therefore, he went to a secluded place along with Radharani. Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshwaraha. Then all the other devotees thought that, oh, who is that special devotee, special gopi who got special attention of Krishna, whom Krishna has taken far away from other gopis to give her exclusive time. Bhagavan, that Hari, that Ishvara, that Govinda has spent exclusive time with this gopi. She must be really special. Hmm. So this proves that Srimati Radharani's Aradhana of Krishna is definitely very special, very unique, and above everyone else's worship. Now there is one more shloka in the Gopi Gita only. चलसि यद्व्रजाचारयन् पशून् नलिनसुन्दरं नाथ ते पदम् शिलतृणाङ्कुरैः सीदतीति न कलिलतां मनः कान्तगच्छति. Chalasi yadvrajat charayan pashu. When Krishna goes to the forest to take care of the cows, to the pasturing grounds, then, then Krishna's divine, tender, soft feet could be pierced by Shila Trina Ankuraihi. Shila means small stones. Trina means some grasses, sharp grasses. Ankuraihi, Silatrinankaraihi Sidatitinaha. The tender divine lotus feet of Krishna which are not even wearing any shoes. They could be pierced by the stones, and thinking that all the gopis and especially Srimati Radharani, they are feeling very worried, anxious. Nalina Sundaram Nath Te Padam. Oh Lord, your padam, your soft foot could be hurt. Kalilata manaha kanta gachati. Kalilata manaha, our hearts are experiencing so much of anxiety, so much of pain, thinking that your feet are getting hurt. This is the love, this is the affection, this is the aradhana of Srimati Radharani. She could not even bear the pain of thinking, pain of the thought that Krishna's feet are getting pierced by some thorns, right? So now the main reason, why did Krishna leave? Yeah, apparently one reason is because the gopis felt proud. Then later the gopis sang Gopi Gita. Then Krishna came back to all the gopis and he said that, my dear gopis, I left you uh, not just because you become proud. I left you for a reason. Like, it's a long discussion. I cannot explain everything at this moment. Maybe we can discuss some other time, but I'll come to the conclusion directly. So Krishna said, I left you because I am not capable of reciprocating with your love, with your affection. The amount of love that you have for me is unlimited. And I don't have the ability to reciprocate. Although in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tamstathaiva bhajamyaham. The way you approach me, in a similar way, I will reciprocate with you. So Krishna says that. In fact, Krishna's reciprocation is oftentimes much more than the amount of service we have done. That's the general case. But in the case of the gopis, Krishna fails. Forget reciprocating with their service according to that magnitude of their service, he cannot even reach that magnitude. Generally, we do little seva, Krishna will give more blessing than what our seva deserves. You put one step towards Krishna, Krishna will put 10 steps towards you, and his steps are bigger than our steps. So that is in our case. In the case of normal devotees, struggling sadhakas. But in the case of gopis, oh gopis, you have done so much seva that I cannot reciprocate. I feel completely bankrupt. I don't have any bandwidth to reciprocate with your service sufficiently. He says, Naparayeham niravadya samyujam swasadha krityam vibudha piva Yama bhajan durjaya greha shrinkhalah samvrishya tadvaha pratiyatu sadhuna. He says, Naparayeham, I cannot repay you. You have left everything for my sake. Yama bhajan durjaya geha shrinkhalat. So geha shrinkhala means the bondage of family affection. Durjaya, it's very difficult to conquer. Family bondage and social conventions are very difficult to give up in those days. But you have given them up effortlessly for my sake. But I don't have the ability to sufficiently reciprocate with your devotion, with your affection, with your service attitude, O Srimati Radharani, O all the gopis. Krishna is saying this to the gopis. And may you be satisfied with your own love, with your own affection, with your own service attitude. Don't expect anything from me. I can't give you also. So Krishna, Lord Sri Krishna felt so indebted and incapable of reciprocating with the love and affection of Srimati Radharani. You can just imagine the extent of her devotion, extent of her worship, extent of her aradhana. Her aradhana is the epitome of worship of Krishna. No one can ever worship Krishna as much as uh, Radharani does towards Krishna. These are in Krishna's words. Now, aradhana means worship. And the word Radha becomes a part of this name, this word Radharani, the Aradhana. So Aradhana is worship. Radha is the supreme worshipper. And Radha word is a part of Aradhana word. But there's another word that we need to discuss at this moment. That is Aparadha. What is Aparadha? Whatever is against Radharani is Aparadha. So whenever we offend devotees or the deities or dhams or name or whatever aparadh we do, whatever offense we do, that is against the principles of Srimati Radharani, against the mood of Srimati Radharani, against the nature of Srimati Radharani. So we should ensure that we don't offend anyone, especially Vaishnavas, right? So just as when we render even little service with love and affection, we get encouragement, we get affection, we get blessing of Srimati Radharani. But if we commit any offense, if we criticize Vaishnavas or offend Vaishnavas or do any other mistakes in devotional service, that is called aparadha, that hurts Srimati Radharani. We should think and act in ways that please the Supreme Goddess of devotion, but not displease the Supreme Goddess of devotion, Srimati Radharani. Right? Therefore, we need to avoid aparadhas. So that's one way of celebrating Radhastami. And we need to pray, Srimati Radharani, I am filled with so many anarthas, so many aparadhas. Even anarthas are easier to handle compared to aparadhas. When we have anartha, because of anartha like kama, krodha, lobha, we may get distracted in our sadhana. But when we do aparadh, our sadhana is destroyed. Distraction is dangerous or destruction is dangerous. Right? So when you are distracted in your sadhana because of anarthas, that will cause some little harm to our bhakti. But when we offend devotees, that will destroy our sadhana completely, that will destroy our devotion completely. Of course, whatever little advancement we have made, that is never lost. Nehabhikramana sostu pratyavayo na vidyati swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. We know that. But at the same time, all the devotional credits, spiritual credits that we have earned by worshipping Krishna, by serving Krishna, will become inaccessible to us when we commit offenses to Vaishnavas. They may be there, but we cannot access them. What's the point of having a password protected file in your laptop without knowing the password? The file is well designed. It's a wonderful document. It has very valuable information, but it is password protected and you have forgotten the password. Then what's the point of having it? Similarly, we may have acquired so many spiritual credits by rendering service, by chanting the names of the Lord, by studying Shastra, but our offenses to devotees, offenses in devotional service, aparadhas that we do, that will make our own spiritual credits inaccessible to us, right? Till we overcome that offense by begging forgiveness from the devotees of Srimati Radharani. So this is the second point, Aradhana. So R for Raga, A for Aradhana, then D for Datritva. Datritva means generosity or charitable disposition. She's very charitable. So Srimati Radharani is not only the supreme worshipper of Krishna, not only the personification of pure love and affection for Krishna, but she's also very compassionate in sharing that love and affection for Krishna with others. Right? So she will share that compassion, share that affection. You know, a successful leader is one who creates successors. Or a generous person is one who shares whatever he or she has with others. Right? So if I have something, if I keep it with myself only, I'm greedy, I'm selfish, I'm self-centric, I'm self-obsessed, I'm self-infatuated. But if I am willing to share this with others, share whatever wealth I have, whatever knowledge I have, whatever resources I have, when I share with others, that will give me satisfaction and that will give benefit to others also. So we need to have that inclination and mood of sharing with others. And amongst all those people who are willing to share their devotion for Krishna, Srimati Radharani is the topmost. How much she shares her devotion with other devotees. You see, Srimati Radharani recommends all of us to Krishna. She even says that, oh Krishna, this devotee is better than me. This devotee has more devotion for you, more bhakti for you than me. Won't you accept him? Won't you accept her? She recommends. Her recommendation letter only will work. For Krishna to accept us, we need to have recommendation of Srimati Radharani. And she's very generous. When we don't commit any aparats, she's very, very generous in giving her recommendation. Therefore, Radharani's one attribute is Bhaktera Poshana. Mhm. So, Bhaktera Poshana means she nourishes the devotion of devotees. Uh, why we call Govardhan Govardhan? Govardhan. Go means cows. Vardhan means giving nourishment. So Govardhan mountain is called Govardhan because Govardhan mountain is known to nourish cows, give nourishment to cows, give uh, give soft grasses, healthy grasses for the cows to eat and give proper milk. So similarly, Srimati Radharani nourishes the devotion in all our hearts. With her blessings, with her empowerment, with her desire, we develop genuine, sincere affection for Krishna, devotion for Krishna. Bhaktira Poshana. She is maintaining our devotion. Now, if at all we have some love and affection or devotion for Krishna, that is coming from her. Just like we are amshas of Krishna, our devotion is an amsha of Radharani's devotion. Right? So our devotion is just an amsha of Srimati Radharani's devotion for Krishna. Bhaktera Poshana, she is the goddess who nourishes all our devotion. So let's give an example. Dukhi Krishna Das, Dukhi Krishna Das. He is a disciple of Hridaya Chaitanya, right? Then he was sent to Vrindavan. He was being trained under Jiva Goswami. And one of the important services that he does is sweeping the floors of Vrindavan. He would take a broom and he would sweep all the bushes and the streets and the floors of Vrindavan. So one day, this Dukhi Krishna Das, he was cleaning some garden, some area. Then near a kunja, near a bush, he found a very beautiful anklet, gem-studded anklet. It was shining. It's not like any other golden anklet that we see in this world. It has some special attractive element in it. It's very divine. And this Dukhi Krishnadas saw it. He became attracted to it. Not that attraction to the wealth, material opulence, but he somehow found that it is very divine. So he preserved it, not out of greed, but with an intention to return it to the owner of that anklet when he finds. So he was keeping. Meanwhile, Dukhi Krishnadas saw that an old lady approached him. An old woman came and said, "Did you find an anklet here while you are brooming here? We saw you sweeping the floors. Did you find any anklet here?" "Yes, yes, I found an anklet." Can you please give it to me?" "This is the anklet of my daughter-in-law. I am her mother-in-law. So you give it to me, I'll return it to her." Dukhi Krishnadas saw and said, "Can you take me to your daughter-in-law? I want to hand it over to her personally." Then she said, "Okay, fine, let me take you." So uh, this lady, old lady, took him to a pool, means a nice lake, and said, "Come, go into that kund." Actually, she was supposed to take Dukhi Krishnadas to that daughter-in-law, but she is saying, "Go into the pond." Mm. But he went. Obediently, he went. But as soon as he entered that pond and came out, he appeared in a very divine gopi form, Kanakamanjari gopi form. And the old lady who came and took him there, she was none other than Lalita Sakhi, the dearest friend of Srimati Radharani. So then, uh, then Lalita Devi took Dukhi Krishnadas, now in a gopi form, to Srimati Radharani. And Dukhi Krishnadas fell at the feet of Srimati Radharani and begged her blessings and returned that anklet. Srimati Radharani received that anklet and pressed that anklet on his forehead. Now he is in the form of a gopi, form of a manjari. Then Dukhi Krishnadas got a special tilak on his forehead. And now Dukhi Krishnadas became Shyamananda Pandit, Shyamananda Prabhu. So this is how Srimati Radharani bestows devotion unto Krishna. Even in the spiritual world, Srimati Radharani is compared to a Bhakti Lata, a creeper of devotion. I am speaking from the 8th chapter of the Madhya Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. In the conversation between Ramananda Rai and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this point comes. Ramananda Rai says, Srimati Radharani is like a nice creeper of devotion, and all the gopis are like tender leaves and flowers and fruits of that creeper. When you sprinkle water on the creeper, naturally all the leaves and twigs are nourished. Similarly, when Srimati Radharani performs pastimes with Krishna, the gopis automatically derive happiness, because that sprinkling of water on the creeper is compared to Radharani performing pastimes of Krishna with Krishna. So when Srimati Radharani performs pastimes with Krishna directly, uh, then that gives so much of happiness to the hearts of all the gopis of Vrindavan. All the gopis feel that let us bring Radharani close to Krishna, let us assist her in her service to Krishna, let us facilitate their pastimes. That is their happiness. But what is Radharani's happiness? She constantly tries to find ways and means to bring all these gopis who are doing background service in direct contact with Krishna. Let these gopis who are rendering so much service get direct association of Krishna and company of Krishna. So she wants to go back and she wants to push these gopis forward so that they can get Krishna's mercy. Of course, these gopis take uh, more pleasure in assisting her than directly serving Krishna. Not that they want to avoid service of Krishna, but they take more pleasure in assisting these assisting Srimati Radharani. But Radharani wants to encourage them, right? So this is the nature of Srimati Radharani. She is uh, she is Datri, means she bestows devotion upon others. She shares her Krishna with all of us. Krishna is her property, right? She is the personification of Krishna's internal potency. Krishna belongs to her, right? But although Krishna belongs to her, she wants to share her Krishna with everyone. Okay, please come and serve my Lord. Right? Of course, love also has a sense of possessiveness. These are different pastimes, but in general, Radharani is the supreme goddess of devotion, and she bestows devotion upon devotees who are willing to serve Krishna directly. She recommends devotees. That's why in that Sindhu shloka, we discussed the shloka where Radharani is compared to 7 oceans, right? So in that, Vaidagya Sindhur Anuraga Rasaika Sindhur Vatsalya Sindhurati Sandra Kripaika Sindhur Lavanya Sindhur Amrita Chavi Rupa Sindhur Shri Radhika Spuratu Me Hridikeli Sindhur. In that shloka, the second line says, Vatsalya Sindhur Atisandra Kripaika Sindhur. Vatsalya Sindhu means Srimati Radharani is an ocean of Vatsalya, affection for devotees, compassion towards devotees. Atisandra Kripaika Sindhu. Sindhu is an ocean. Kripaika Sindhu means an ocean of mercy. Sandra Kripa means condensed mercy. Atisandra Kripa means extremely condensed mercy. Srimati Radharani is an ocean of extremely condensed mercy. She was very magnanimous. She's very generous in sharing her devotion for Krishna with all of us. We need to beg. She is willing to share. She is ready to bestow devotion upon all of us. But are we willing to receive? That's the question. Srimati Radharani and her representative, Guru, and all the devotees, they're willing to bestow love and affection upon us, devotion for Krishna, inspiration in Krishna consciousness. But how much is the conditioned soul willing to accept it? The willingness to bestow is there, but willingness to accept, is it there? Therefore, Krishna personally comes in the mood of Srimati Radharani and tries to inspire all of us to receive that gift. प्रेमानामद्भुतार्थः श्रवणपथगतः कस्य नाम्ना महिम्नः को वेत्ता कस्य वृन्दा वनविपिनमः माधुरीषु प्रवेश को वा जानाति राधाम् परमरस चमत्कार माधुर्य सीमा एकश्चैतन्य चंद्रः परम करुणया सर्वमाविष्चकार. Prema namadbhutartha, the adbhuta artha, the most divine purpose of our existence in this human form is to get prema, to get Krishna prema. Prema namadbhutartha. And how do we get it? By chanting Krishna nama, the way Srimati Radharani is chanting, the way all the devotees are chanting, the way the gopis are chanting, right? So to chant, Mahaprabhu came to bestow prema and nama, or prema through nama. को वेत्ता कस्य वृंदावन विपिन महामाधुरीषु प्रवेश. को वेत्ता कस्य वृंदावन विपिन महामाधुरीषु प्रवेश means without Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's grace, or without the grace of Krishna who appeared in the mode of Radha as Chaitanya, who would have ever entered into the deeper realms of Vrindavan Dham, Vrindavan Melos? Not possible, right? Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna in the mode of Radha, he gives us entrance into the Melos of Vrindavan, the glories of Vrindavan, right? That is Mahaprabhu's speciality. And entering Vrindavan means following the footsteps of Srimati Radharani, right? Radha nama sudhar samrasayitum jihvastu me vikvala padau tatpadakankita sucharatam vrindatavi vithishu तत्कर्मैव करः करोतु हृदयं तस्य पदं ध्यायतात् तद्भावोत्सवतः परं भवतु मे तत्प्राणनाथे रतिः पादौ तत्पदकाङ्किता सुचरतां वृन्दाटवीवीथिषु पादौ तत्पदकाङ्किता सुचरतां. Basically, devotees are those people who follow in the footsteps of Srimati Radharani because she is the supreme goddess of devotion. Naturally, uh, whatever devotion we have is her mercy, and our traversing the path of devotional service is basically following in her footsteps, as simple as that. Padau tatpada kankita sucharatam vrindata vivithishu. So coming back to our original shloka by Prabodhananda Saraswati, there he says that Mahaprabhu appeared in the mode of Radharani to bestow us prema through nama, and also to introduce Vrindavan to us, and also to establish the glories of Srimati Radharani as the highest limit of Madhurya prema. Ko va janati radham paramarasa chamatkara madhurya simam. Ko va janati, who would have ever understood? What is to be understood? Paramarasa chamatkara madhurya sima. That understanding that Srimati Radharani is the supreme limit of Madhurya Prema to Krishna. If Madhurya Prema, or love for Krishna in Madhurya Rasa, is the topmost and the highest manifestation of love of Godhead, and Srimati Radharani is the topmost amongst all those Premi Bhaktas, Madhurya Premi Bhaktas. Ko va janati radham परमरस चमत्कार माधुर्य सीमा एकश्चैतन्य चंद्रः परम करुणया सर्वमाविष्चकार. That one and only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his parama karuna, out of his intense karuna, he bestowed upon us this understanding of Srimati Radharani, understanding of the glory of Srimati Radharani, right? So she is the supreme worshipper, and she is supremely merciful also. We need her recommendation. We need her blessings. We need to follow in her footsteps, not in a sahajiya way, right? Following her footsteps does not mean we think of ourselves gopis or some Vrajavasi and exhibiting some artificial emotions or feelings or activities without sufficiently purifying ourselves from our anarthas, right? So, our following the footsteps of Srimati Radharani or any exalted devotee of Krishna begins with following the regimen given to us by the Acharyas, by Srila Prabhupada. First, chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. First, try to follow the four regulative principles. First, try to cultivate the mode of humility, respect, uh, tolerance, not expecting respect from anyone else. We need to have that humility. Without humility, how can we follow the footsteps of Radharani? Very exalted position. Radharani is most humble, right? Uh, Following footsteps of Srimati Radharani means we need to cultivate that humility. If we think that we are better than anyone else in the entire cosmic manifestation, we are not following the footsteps of Radharani. Srimati Radharani says, Krishna, this devotee is better than me. Please accept him, accept her. Why is she saying that? She really feels it. She really means it, right? It's not that it's a formality, not encouraging. I'm encouraging him, saying that he's better than me. But actually, I know he's useless. That is not her mood. She really feels that so and so devotee is better than me, and she recommends. That is her humility, right? So if we think we are better than anyone else in the entire creation, we are far away from real understanding of bhakti. If we have even a slight tinge of superiority complex over another devotee or another living being, hmm, we have not understood the essence of bhakti. So humility is required. That's what we need to beg from Srimati Radharani. We can't directly beg, Radharani, please give me Gopi Bhav. That's not the prayer. Radharani, please make me humble. Please bestow some humility in me. Please bestow some tolerance. Please bestow upon me that mood to respect all the devotees for whatever they are. Let me not offend any devotees. Let me do my sadhana sincerely. Let me follow the four regulative principles properly. Let me study Shastra nicely. Let me understand the glories of Krishna before jumping into the sweetness of Krishna, right? So we need to beg like that. So when we are discussing some exalted topics, sometimes consciously or unconsciously, we may assume that we are on that level. Oh, Radhastami came, we are discussing about Radharani, we are hearing about Radharani. uh, Sometimes we may consciously or unconsciously feel that yeah, we are on that level or we are close to that level. 2 more years, 3 more years, I'll become like that. We cannot assume like that. We need to be humble and be aware of our current condition in devotional service with so many anarthas and aparas, and then beg Srimati Radharani to give us the ability to overcome all those anarthas and aparas and beg for her mercy. And she will give mercy definitely when there is sincerity. Therefore, uh, uh, in the Damodar Ashtakam, Satyavartamani is praying for her recommendation. Namastestu damne स्फुरदीप्ति धाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथा विश्वस्य धाम्ने नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमोऽनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् Namastestu damne स्फुरदीप्ति धाम्ने. Very soon, Kartika month is also coming now, right? Satyavrata is saying that, oh Lord, I offer my obeisances unto your belly and also that rope of love of Mother Yashoda that is binding that belly. Uh, I understand. I have made so many proposals in my prayers so far in Damodar Ashtakam. You will not accept my application without a recommendation letter. I know that. Now, I'll take a recommendation letter from Srimati Radharani. Krishna, you love two things. What are the two things that Krishna loves? One, Srimati Radharani. Second, Rasalila. That Krishna did with Radharani and her expansions, the gopis. So, Satyavratmani mentions this at the end. He says, Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tubhyam Namo Radhikayai Tvadiya Priyayai. Srimati Radharani is very dear to you. And Namo Ananta Leelaya. He did not mention directly Rasa Leela. He said Ananta Leela because Rasa Leela is Ananta. Ananta Leela generally may mean that Krishna has unlimited pastimes, but Ananta Leela specifically refers to this Rasa Leela which Krishna did with gopis, right? So because it is confidential, therefore he says Ananta Leela to keep it very mild. Namo Ananta Leelaya Devaya Tubhyam. So by taking the name of Srimati Radharani and that beautiful Leela, he is taking a recommendation letter from Radharani. So that is Krishna, that is Radharani's third feature. She is the Datri. She has the Datritva quality, means the quality of bestowing upon us her mercy and devotion to Krishna. Then comes H, the fourth quality, Hladini. She is the pleasure potency of Krishna. She is the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna. So let's discuss this. So Krishna has multiple energies, unlimited energies he has. Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate. Now Krishna's like energies are Antaranga Shakti, Bahiranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti. Antaranga means internal potency, spiritual potency. Bahiranga means external potency, material energy. Then Tatastha Shakti means marginal potency, the jivas. Now let's come back to Antaranga Shakti, the internal spiritual potency first. So within this internal potency or spiritual potency, there are three elements. Sat, Chit, Ananda, also called Sandhini, Samvit, and Hladini. Right? Sandhini means the eternality potency, the potency to stay forever. Samvit means knowledge potency, also called Chit Shakti. Then Hladini means pleasure potency. They are also called Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat and Sandhini are same. Chit and Samvit are same. Then Ananda and Hladini are same. Right? They are corresponding to each other. So Hladini potency means the most confidential portion of Krishna's spiritual energy. That is the pleasure potency of Krishna. And Srimati Radharani is the personification of that Hladini. To be more specific, Hladini Rasara Prema, the essence of that pleasure potency is Prema. And in that Prema, one has great bhava, emotions for Krishna. When the emotions become very condensed, they become Mahabhava. And the personification of that Mahabhava for Krishna is Srimati Radharani. Who is Srimati Radharani? In general, she is the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna. To be even more specific, she is the personification of Mahabhava, intense emotion for Krishna. When intense loving emotion for Krishna takes the form of a person, that is Srimati Radharani. That's why she is called Devi Krishnamayi Prokta. There is only Krishna in her, Krishna's love in her, nothing else, no other ingredient in her total existence. Now, in this section, fourth section, we'll see from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikruter Hladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmanav Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Bhedau Gatau Tau Chaitanyakhyam Prakata Madhuna Tadvayam Chaikyamaptam Radha Bhavadyuti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikrutir Hladini Shakti Rasmat. The pranaya vikriti or the transformations of love between Radha and Krishna are manifestations of Hladini potency, the internal potency, the pleasure potency of Krishna. Radha Krishna pranaya vikriter Hladini shakti rasmat ekatma now api bhuvi pura deha bhedau gadau Chaitanyakhyam prakata madhuna tadvayam chaikyamaptam Radha bhavadyuti suvalitam naumi Krishna swarupam. The meaning of this shloka is Radha and Krishna are one, but they manifested themselves into two forms. And again, in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became one. Because Krishna accepted the emotion and complexion of Radharani and took the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The main point relevant for our discussion now is Hladini Shakti. All the pastimes and interactions between Radha and Krishna are manifestations of Hladini Shakti, pleasure potency of Krishna. In fact, Radharani herself is a manifestation of Krishna's pleasure potency, personification. And what is the function of this Hladini? Let's see. Hladini karaya Krishna ananda swadana. Hladini radwara kare bhaktira poshana. Very important shloka. Hladini karaya Krishna ananda aswadana. That is the first function of Hladini potency. Second function is Bhaktera Poshana. We already discussed this Bhaktera Poshana point uh, some time back. So, some time back we were discussing Radharani's third quality, Datritva. She's very generous. In that context, we discussed Bhaktera Poshana. She nourishes devotees. She is a nourisher of devotees, nourisher of the devotion in the hearts of devotees. Then Krishna Ananda Aswadana. She also helps Krishna to experience Ananda. Right? Krishna Ananda Aswadana means she facilitates the pleasure pastimes of Krishna. Hladini Shakti means Hladini Shakti helps Radharani helps Krishna experience pleasure, happiness. Govindanandini Radha Govinda Mohini Govinda Sarvasva Sarva Kanti Shiromani. Govinda Anandini Radha means Srimati Radharani gives Ananda to Govinda. Who is Govinda? Govinda means one who gives pleasure to everyone. But who gives pleasure to Govinda? Radharani gives pleasure to Govinda. Therefore, she is called Govinda Anandini Radha. Krishna enchants everyone, but who enchants Krishna? Radharani. Therefore, she is called Govinda Mohini. Krishna is the life and soul of all the devotees. But who is the life and soul of Krishna? Radharani. Therefore, Govinda Sarvasva. Remember this. Govinda Anandini, Govinda Sarvasva, Govinda Mohini. That is Srimati Radharani. This is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sarvakanta Shiromani. We already discussed Sarvakanta Shiromani earlier because she is the source of Lakshmi Gana, Gopi Gana, Mahishi Gana. That's how Srimati Radharani is dedicated to give pleasure to Krishna, happiness to Krishna. Right? So even in the Radhikashtakam, we see Kumkumakta Kanchanabja Garvahari Gaurabha पीतनांचिताब्ज गंध कीर्ति निंदि सौरभ बल्लवेश सूनु सर्व वांछितार्थ साधिका मह्यमात्म पाद पद्म दास्य दास्तु राधिका Ballavesha. Ballavesha refers to the king of all cowherds. Ballava Isha means the king of all cowherdmen. That is Nanda Maharaj. Ballavesha Sunu means the son of Nanda Maharaj, that is Krishna. Ballavesha Sunu Sarva Vanchitartha Sadhika. Sarva means all, Vanchitartha means desires, Sadhika means one who fulfills. So Srimati Radharani fulfills all the desires of Krishna, all the desires of the son of Nanda Maharaj. That is her activity. Ballavesha Sunu Sarva Vanchitartha Sadhika. Mahyamatma Pada Padma Dasyadastu Radhika. Ballavesha Sunu Vanchitartha Sadhika. That is Srimati Radharani's activity, giving pleasure to Krishna. Now let's come to the last point. Before that, why did Radharani cry when Akrura was taking Krishna away from Vrindavan? Was Radharani crying for herself? Oh, if Krishna goes away, I'll get bored. I'll miss him. How will I get happiness? Who will play with me? Who will be with me? That is not her point. Radharani or all other gopis also, her expansions. They were crying when Akrura was taking Krishna away from Vrindavan, not because they will miss some pleasure, not because they will miss some happiness in the association of Krishna, because they think that, or they are convinced that, they fully understand that Krishna gets unlimited happiness and ultimate happiness only in Vrindavan. The land of Vrindavan, the cows of Vrindavan, the residents of Vrindavan, the Gopas, the Gopis, and everybody in Vrindavan are fully equipped to give ultimate pleasure to Krishna. But if Krishna goes out of Vrindavan, either to Mathura or to Dwarka or to Hastinapur or anywhere, Krishna will not get this experience. Krishna cannot enjoy in any place in the entire cosmic manifestation as much as he enjoys in Vrindavan, in Vrajadham. And Radharani knows this. Therefore, she's crying. Therefore, she's feeling that pain. She's thinking Krishna will miss all this pleasure that is accessible to him in Vrindavan. What does it mean? Krishna has to settle down to some mediocre pleasures, mediocre service. Oh, I cannot handle this. I cannot bear this pain of seeing Krishna not experiencing the highest pleasure available. Let him be in Vrindavan only. He'll be very happy. If he goes to Mathura, if he goes to Dwarka, if he goes to Hastinapur, if he goes anywhere else, he will not get this high grade pleasure, high grade happiness. That's what makes Radharani pained at heart. Therefore, she's crying. Therefore, she's fainting, not just crying. She was about to faint when Krishna was leaving. Then, uh, last. Now, one who is accustomed to give pleasure to Krishna, if she sees Krishna not getting that pleasure, they will get pain, isn't it? So, Srimati Radharani, being the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna, being the giver of pleasure to Krishna, Govinda Anandini, she cannot bear the pain of seeing Krishna settling down to some mediocre pleasures, mediocre services in Mathura or any other place. So therefore she is crying. Now last point, A for Ananyata. Ananyata. So Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita, Ananyaschintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. Means one who does not desire anything, one who is not distracted by anything, but one who is completely dedicated to remembering me, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, without any distractions or deviations in the mind. If one just thinks of Krishna alone, Krishna said, Yogakshemam Vahamyam. Ananyas Chintayanto Mam, Ye Janaha Pari Upasati, one who perfectly worships me. Tesham Nitya Abhiyuktanam, for those people who are constantly engaged in my service, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham. I take care of their needs. I supply whatever they don't have. I preserve whatever they have. This is what Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita. But who is the epitome of that Ananya Bhava? Ananya means with absolutely no distraction, with complete absorption, complete dedication to Krishna consciousness. So, exclusive devotion to Krishna. So, Srimati Radharani is the personification of that exclusive devotion and exclusive dedication to Krishna. This exclusivity, only Krishna, nothing else. No one else is there in her mind. So, Srimati Radharani has no interest on anything else, so much so that she wouldn't even open her eyes to see anyone else before Krishna. When she appeared, we discussed sometime back, we discussed the pastime of Radharani's appearance. I don't know here, or I think in some kids' class I was sharing recently. So Radharani appeared in a lotus in Yamuna. And Vrishabhanu Maharaj, when he went to Yamuna Nadi to take bath, she found some effulgence coming from this lotus. He went closer and she found Srimati Radharani there. Right? But he got that little baby girl to her home and gave her to his wife Kirtida Devi. And Kirtida saw and they became very happy. But this little baby girl was not opening her eyes on. And she was not hearing any sound also. So they became very worried. And days are passing, they became very worried. Then one day, Krishna came there. Yashoda Mata came there along with baby Krishna. And Krishna slowly went close to cradle of baby Srimati Radharani. And as soon as Krishna came close to Radharani, then for the first time she opened her eyes and used her eyes to see something that is Krishna's enchanting form. She doesn't want to hear anything other than something connected to Krishna. She doesn't want to see anything other than Krishna. Therefore, she says in the Venu Gita, Akshanvatam phalamidam naparam vidamaha. I don't see any other purpose of having eyes other than Krishna. So Srimati Radharani, as a small child also, she's constantly worshipping a small deity of Krishna, while other Sakhis are playing different games. So no interest in anything. Ananyata, right? Akshanvatam phalamidam na param vidamaha. And this mood is very beautifully captured in the eighth shloka of Sikshashtaka. आश्लिष्यवापादरतां पिनष्टु माम् अदर्शनामर्महतां करोतु वा यथा तथा वा विदधातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनाथस्तु स एव नापरः. So आश्लिष्यवापादरतां. So in this shloka, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, actually this is Radharani shloka. So in the mode of Srimati Radharani, completely absorbed in the mode of Srimati Radharani, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is speaking this shloka. What is the meaning of this shloka? Very simple, but very exalted. The meaning of this shloka is, O Lord, even if you don't give me darshan, even if you hurt my heart by not showing yourself to me, even if you trample me, even if you divert your attention to something else or someone else, still I will not leave you. Mat prananathastu sayeva naparaha. You remain the Lord of my heart forever. I will not divert my attention anywhere else. Generally, when we invest some love and affection on someone, and if we don't get any reciprocation, we feel disappointed, we feel disheartened. We feel that, oh, why am I struggling so much to serve this person, but he has no interest in me? We lose interest in them. Ekama prapadyante principle works everywhere. But Radharani says that Krishna, even if you don't show interest in me, I am interested only in you and no one else. That is her. That is her mood. Ananyata. This is Ananya Bhava. Patisutannvayad bhratrubandhava. So she left everyone. Radharani left Pati, Sutta, Bhratrubandhava. Not only Radharani, all the gopis of Vrindavan also. They left everyone just to serve Krishna. Patisutannvayad bhratrubandhava. अतिविलङ्घ्यतेऽन्यच्युतागताः गतिविदस्तवोद्गीतमोहिताः कितवयोषितः कस्त्यजेन्निशि. Pati, Sutta, Bharatru, Bandhava, we left everyone and you left us, Krishna. You are acting like a cheater. How can you cheat like this? So this is their complaint. So in their loving emotion, the gopis can even blame Krishna. That's an expression of their devotion. You know how Prem Sarovar manifested. You can see the exclusivity or ananyata of Radharani's bhava here. Once Radha and Krishna, they both were sitting at one place, and some bumblebee came on the face of Radharani and started making some sound and kind of irritating her. Then Lord Krishna told Madhumangal, Madhumangal, chase this bee away. Madhumangal came and just chased that bee away and came back and told Krishna, Krishna, Madhu has gone. Madhu will never come back. Madhu here is the bumblebee. But Radharani thought that Madhu is Krishna because Krishna has another name called Madhu. Radharani thought that, oh, no. Radharani thought that Madhu has gone away. Madhu will never come back. So she became very pained at heart and she started crying. She could not even accommodate that little statement made by Madhumangal that Madhu has gone, he will not come back. She thought that Krishna has gone, he will not come back. And out of her intense feeling of separation, she just felt, no, I cannot bear this pain. She started crying and profuse tears. And Krishna is right next to her, trying to console her, saying that Radharani, I am right next to you, please don't cry. But she's crying, seeing her devotion, seeing her ananyata, seeing her exalted love and affection. Krishna started crying. The combined tears of Radha and Krishna formed this Prem Sarovar in Vrindavan. So this is the Ananyata of Krishna, Ananyata of Radharani. In this context, let's discuss a beautiful shloka by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by Rupa Goswami, about Srimati Radharani in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela. हित्वा दूरे पथितवतरोरन्तिकं धर्मसेतोर् भङ्गोदग्र गुरुशिखरिणं रंहसा लङ्घयन्ति लेभे कृष्णार्णवनवरसा राधिका वाहिनी त्वाम् वाग्वीचीभिः किमिह विमुखी भावमस्यास्तनोषि. So, hitva dure pati dhavataror. Srimati Radharani has left far away. Whom? Pati. Pati dhavataror. Like the consort of trees, tree. Then Antikam Dharma Setor. She also uh, gave up Dharma Setu, the bridge. The Setu means bridge of different dharmic principles, virtues. Bhangodagra Guru Sikharinam. Guru means some elders, elderly relatives. Sikharinam means they are like big mountains, right? So, okay, let me give you the context. Here, Srimati Radharani, in this shloka, Srimati Radharani is compared to a river, and Krishna is compared to the ocean. Just like rivers flow and somehow reach the ocean. Although on the path of the river, there may be big trees, big mountains, big bridges, big dams, or some different obstacles of cities and towns and villages, etc. Somehow or the other, the river manages to find its way to the ocean. Similarly, although Srimati Radharani also faced so many obstacles in the form of a so called husband, in the form of some Vedic customs, which are like bridge, and Bhangodagra Guru Shikranam in the form of mm, elderly relatives who are like hills or mountains. Ramhasa Langhayanti, she crossed all of that. And Lebhe Krishnarnavana Varasa Radhika Vahini Tvam. Radhika is compared to Vahini. Vahini means a beautiful river. So she manages to come to Krishnarnava. Krishnarnava means the ocean of Sri Krishna. Lebhe Krishnarnavana Varasa Vahini Radhika Vahini Tvam. So this is the determination that Srimati Radharani has. This is the ananyata that Srimati Radharani has in her devotion. Right? So these are the 5 qualities of Srimati Radharani. There are hundreds and thousands of her qualities, but I don't have the adhikar to go deep, but I just slightly touched on a few qualities based on what we have learned from Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Primarily these 3 scriptures. We have discussed 5 qualities of Radharani. First, R means raga, intense affection for Krishna. Then A means aradhana. She is the supreme worshipper of Krishna. D. Datritva. She is very generous and compassionate in bestowing her devotion for Krishna upon all of us if we approach her in the right consciousness. Right? Then H. Hladini means she is the personification of the pleasure potency of Krishna. Then A. Ananyata. She is a personification of exclusive devotion for Krishna. So with this, I humbly seek the blessings of the supreme goddess of devotion, Srimati Radharani, so that we get a drop of devotion for Krishna, and also humbly offering obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who introduced Radharani to this world, and ultimately to Srila Prabhupada, who introduced the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to all of us. So ultimately to our Guru Varga and all the Vaishnavas, uh, basically that the devotion or the blessings of the Supreme Goddess of devotion flows through this parampara. So ultimately, bhakti boils down to submitting to our immediate spiritual authorities, following the guidelines, because they are the representatives of the parampara, which is representative of Srimati Radharani, ultimately. So let us try to do our sadhana nicely, following our principles nicely, chant our rounds nicely, read the scriptures nicely, and beg Srimati Radharani to not underutilize or misuse the opportunity of performing devotional service which we got by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and Acharyas. So let us pray for the strength to be committed to our sadhana and seva and swadhyay and sadachar especially. So thank you very much. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्री राधाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय. Hare Krishna. So we'll meet another time. Hare Krishna. Happy Radhastami.